Richard Dawkins, will this country elect an atheist as president in the next couple of decades?
I was kind of joking when I said that Obama was definitely an atheist and Kennedy was too. I think they might be. If you think about it, 534 members of the US Congress cannot all be religious. I mean, that's a statistical nonsense. Many of them are quite well educated. This is
Them fighting words here on the panel.
Never mind the last bit. I mean, statistically, it's an obvious nonsense that 534 members of Congress are all religious. They've got to be lying, and if they're lying, maybe quite a few presidential candidates
in politics, you have to.
You have to lie, and that's the point.
To lie.
I think this will happen in our lifetime. I think an atheist.
Really?
Yes. Again, because 16-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, they don't give a shit.
Right.
About whether you believe in God or not.
But I don't know about our lifetimes, unless we're going to live very long. Because, I mean, look at pot. We thought, I remember when we were in college, I'm talking about the 70s, we thought, you know what, when we get to be the people who are running things, we'll legalize pot. Well, we've been running things for quite a while. And it still isn't legal. It's just now past the 50% mark in the polls. How long is it going to be before the polls get translated into legislation? I mean,
within this decade.
I think it's going to move.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's going to move like marriage equality, where all of a sudden there is a movement behind, and it goes so rapidly.
Well, who would have ever imagined growing up that you'd have the most famous and prolific rapper would be white and the president would be black?
One rather depressing thing about youth. In Britain, polls show that a very high percentage of British Muslims think that the penalty for apostasy should be death, and it's a much higher percentage for young people than for old people. Older Muslims in Britain don't think that, young people...
And that has very little to do with American foreign policy.
Of course. Can I just say, of course it does.
That's what I'm saying.
That's of course it does.
Obviously, no one's defending, I don't think, here, American foreign policy. I certainly wouldn't.
Of course that's the effect of radicalization and the ideology at play, but also it does demonstrate the other thing, that older generation who don't subscribe to those values were also Muslims.
Yes.
And they knew their religion as well. Yeah. In fact, when I joined the Islamist group that I joined, my parents, and still do, remain opposed. And in fact, my mother slapped me around the face when I was 16 and said, don't you dare go down that path, which made me go down it even more. But, you know, the point is that they are still Muslims, and my parents said to me, that's not the Islam that we were raised on, that we recognize. But radicalization has certainly taken root with the second generation, because the ideology is new. That's the difference. This ideology that I refer to as Islamism has strangleholded these youth, and it's not just about foreign policy, it's a factor, but of course there's the ideological narrative, which is also another factor.
Can I ask you a question? I don't know the answer to this. I've wondered this since 9/11. I've wondered this. The week before the hijackers committed this atrocity, they were going to the strip club.
Yeah. So
and I'm thinking, well, how? Geez, they were like, didn't they?
That's an excellent question, because lucky.
It's like, well, I don't want to kill myself. This is really good.
Well, actually, that's a really good...
That's the scary thing.
That demonstrates something, because that these guys, no single terrorist organization has at its head anyone that studied the religion. None of them are theologians. As we were saying earlier, they're doctors, engineers. Whether it's bin Laden, whether it's the guy that recruited me to my group, he's a doctor. If you look at all of them, they have a preponderance of doctors, and nothing against doctors and engineers and scientists, but they have a preponderance of scientists among extremists.
The 19 hijackers were mostly college educated.
Right.
And how do you explain that?
From the middle class.
It's again, as I said, nothing against scientists.
Yeah,
it's the black and white thinking.
Religion is how you explain it.
No, allow me to answer. It's the black and white empirical method.
It's
the empirical method that's applied.
You're highly educated, and if you've got this religion, it's the poison.
Yeah.
Religion.
Bill is right. It's a religion.
Walls off a part of your mind. I mean, this is the question I've been asking for 30 years. It's the question I asked for in religious. I didn't ask how could I be spiritual? I asked the question, how could otherwise intelligent people wall off a part of their mind and believe in a talking snake? That's what I want to believe.
The religion